The courtroom laughed. Not loud, not openly, but enough. Whispers slid across the wooden benches like blades. A scoff from the back row, a smirk from the opposing table. She stood alone at the defense desk, hands folded, head lowered. Her shoes were scuffed, her dress too plain for a room built on power. "Your Honor," the prosecutor said, amusement leaking into his voice. The wife claims she didn't understand the contracts she signed. More laughter. The judge adjusted his glasses, looked down at the file, paused. Then he read her name out loud, and everything in that courtroom stopped breathing. Keep watching. Do not blink. What that name unlocks will change everything. Her name was Eleanor Whitford. To most people in that courtroom, she was just the wife. Married into money. Out of place. Easy to dismiss. Across the aisle sat Graham Holloway, her husband's former business partner, tailored suit, expensive watch, confidence bought with lawyers. He leaned back comfortably, certain this case was already won. Eleanor hadn't always been silent. Before marriage, before disappearing into charity galas and closed doors, she'd been something else entirely. Sharp, methodical, trained to read details. Others missed. But life had narrowed her world. Caregiving, sacrifice, promises that asked her to step back so others could step forward. The courtroom was downtown. Old marble. High ceilings. A place where power echoed louder than truth. They saw weakness in her quiet. They mistook restraint for ignorance. And none of them noticed the thin folder beneath her arm, or the calm in her eyes that said she was ready. The ridicule didn't start loud. It never does. It came as whispers first. Smirks exchanged between attorneys. A muffled laugh when Eleanor adjusted the microphone and it squealed. Someone in the gallery muttered, "Does she even know why she's here?" Graham Holloway's lawyer rose smoothly, polished, predatory. He paced as he spoke, words sharp, rehearsed. He painted Eleanor as decoration, a wife who signed papers without reading, a beneficiary who enjoyed the money but understood none of the work. Exhibits flashed on the screen. Contracts, numbers, dates, each one framed to suggest ignorance. Each one designed to humiliate. "Mrs. Whitford," the lawyer said, tone syrupy, "can you explain this transaction?" Eleanor stood. Her hands didn't shake. "I can," she said softly. The lawyer smiled, sensing blood. "Please do, in your own words." She answered, carefully, precisely. Not long explanations, just facts. Dates corrected. Figures clarified. One footnote pointed out, then another. The judge leaned forward. Graham's smile thinned. Receipts appeared next. Bank statements. Email chains. A voicemail played, Graham's voice, confident, careless, joking about moving numbers where no one looks. Gasps rippled through the gallery. "That recording," the lawyer snapped, "was obtained without consent." Eleanor lifted her folder. "Incorrect," she said. "It was sent to me, voluntarily, on March 14th at 9:42 p.m. She named the metadata. The server. The backup. Silence stretched. Then the judge asked the question that changed everything. "Mrs. Whitford, what was your profession before marriage?" Eleanor met the bench's gaze. "I was a forensic accountant," she said. "And I built the system he stole from." The room shifted. There was no going back now. The courtroom went dead still. Not a cough. Not a shuffle. Even the clock on the wall seemed to hesitate. "For the record," the judge said slowly, "please repeat that." Eleanor didn't blink. "I was a forensic accountant," she said again. 17 years. Federal cases. Corporate fraud. Asset recovery. I designed the audit framework my husband used to hide his theft. Graham Holloway half stood. "No, Your Honor, this is irrelevant." The judge raised a hand. "Sit down." Graham's lawyer flipped pages too fast now. Papers slid. A pen clattered to the floor. Confidence leaked out of the room like air from a punctured tire. Eleanor opened her folder. Inside were color-coded charts. Timelines. Flow. Maps so clean they were almost beautiful. She didn't rush. "Exhibit 47, she said. A mirror ledger. Hidden behind shell vendors registered. Under my maiden name. Without my knowledge. Sloppy, he assumed. I'd never look. A murmur rolled through the gallery. She tapped the screen. Exhibit 48. The moment funds were rerouted. 3 minutes after he sent me that voicemail. The judge's jaw tightened. Graham was sweating now. Dark patches under his arms. His foot bounced uncontrollably. Eleanor wasn't done. She pressed play. Another recording. Short, clear. Graham's voice again, laughing. She's just the wife. No one will take her seriously. The sound hit the room like a slap. A woman in the gallery covered her mouth. A clerk froze mid-typing. The judge stood. I have seen arrogance, he said. But this... He turned to Graham. You underestimated the one person who knew every corner of your crime. The prosecutor rose, almost stunned. Your Honor, she said, the state moves to amend charges, embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy, based on newly entered evidence. The judge nodded once. So ordered. Graham's knees buckled. He grabbed the table, missed. Security moved in. As he was led away, he turned back, eyes wild. You planned this, he hissed. Eleanor met his stare. No, she said quietly. I survived you. The gavel came down, hard, and in that sound, a life built on lies finally collapsed. The hallway outside the courtroom filled slowly. Whispers, phones buzzing, heads turning toward Eleanor like gravity had shifted. She walked out alone at first. No entourage, no victory smile. Just steady steps. The same woman they'd laughed at an hour earlier. Then it started. A quiet clap. One woman, then another, then a man in the back. Applause spread. Not loud, not performative, but deep. Respectful. Earned. The prosecutor caught up to her. Ms. Holloway, she said, voice softer now, your testimony just reopened 3 closed cases. You may have saved more people than you know. Eleanor nodded. She didn't look surprised. Outside, reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. Someone asked if she felt vindicated. She stopped. I feel free, she said. And I hope every woman watching knows being underestimated is not a weakness. It's camouflage. Across the street, Graham Holloway was loaded into a transport van. His name, once powerful, now toxic. Accounts frozen. Boards resigning. Partners distancing themselves overnight. Actions have consequences. Weeks later, Eleanor sat in a small office with sunlight on bare walls. A new sign went up on the door. Holloway and Cole. Forensic Accounting and Justice Consulting. Women began to call. Quiet voices at first, then stronger. Stories of missing money, of gaslighting, of being told they were just wives. Eleanor listened, and she helped. The court transcript went viral. So did the moment the judge spoke her last name, clear, respectful, undeniable. Not mocked, not dismissed, recognized. Because dignity doesn't need permission, and sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one everyone thought was invisible.